Welcome back to The Biggish Talk. We break down some of the most influential bestsellers of our generation and read them so you don't have to. We're your hosts,
Ira, Sebastian,
and Harrison.
For today's video, we are going to be going over some more of the main points in Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
So today we're going to be talking about what differentiates between an asset and a liability.
Bro, isn't your house an asset? That's
Bro.
the greatest asset you have.
Is it? Is it really? My car's an asset too, you know. It takes me places. I can go to work with it. I mean, like, you got to think, like, my shoes are assets, my clothes are assets.
Well,
Like, come on.
after what you've been through, your car is no longer an asset.
Oh my gosh.
It's a shield for him, okay?
Yeah. I'm investing in my protection.
Bro,
With-
you need
with
a
a Honda-
vibranium car.
Not gonna lie, guys. Honda Civics, paper mache, really. Okay, but
Don't dog your Civic, bro.
it serves its purpose.
Yes,
But
Toyota,
really,
come through with that sponsorship.
yeah. Moving on
What?
to
Link in the
what we're really talking about today. You know, Robert talks about a lot of interesting versions of assets and liabilities that not everyone has the same opinion on. And I think what is really interesting is that he considers a house a liability.
Yeah, for a lot of the average people, they think their house is like their biggest asset. That's why they're so
Super
easy-
invested in.
super invested to buying into one, right? Because they know maybe it'll pay for itself in the future. But ultimately, Robert elaborates on how it's really not, unless you're really educated on real estate and how it works.
I feel like where people think that it's an asset rather than a liability is because they see that there are chances where the house will go up in value. So it's like they think, oh, we've made our money. But that's not really the case unless you intend to immediately sell the house.
Yeah, I mean, like, you really gotta think, like, even, you know, one of the huge real estate moguls, you know, Grant Cardone, 10x, right? Grant Cardone says that a single door home is probably the worst investment that you can ever make as an individual. And I feel like that goes to speak a lot because when you think of a house, like, yeah, everything sounds great. You have a lot of value. You almost have your own personal bank when it comes to your home. But really, are your houses as liquidifiable?
Liquidatable.
Yeah, liquidatable as
I don't know if that's actually.
I don't know either. But can you liquefy your house as quickly as you may think? And during 2008, that was a really huge problem for a lot of people. Was that all of a sudden their houses were valued much farther below than what they took their initial mortgage out of. And when you are in a situation to where your house is everything, and then when your house is controlled by the market, right? Understanding the market, it really puts people in a hard position when they realize that their houses aren't really as huge of an asset as they thought.
I feel like after going over a lot of information with different people, that the right type of real estate to invest in would be like different types of like apartments or like multiple.
You mean like complexes?
Complex apartment complexes or like condominium complexes, because so that way if you lose one, when you lose one renter with a house, the house is empty. You got to go through the process of finding someone new,
Sure.
getting rid of the current person. But it's like whether it comes to apartments, the process is a little easier. And when one falls out, you still have the other ones to rely on with.
Yeah,
payments.
your risk management is a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just all or nothing. Because it's not one place to say for sure.
So let's talk about like what we consider as an asset. Like as individuals, like what do you guys consider as your greatest asset right now that you're in possession of?
Right here. That's what he says. That's what they all say is investing in yourself is the best.
Right.
It'll have the best return over the long
Right.
run, right?
Bro,
I laughed because I disagree. I'm just kidding.
dude, yeah, with all my ideas, this is not an asset.
No, it is. It's your
Yeah.
greatest
Yeah.
asset.
And the reason why I asked that question is because a lot of people believe that their cars are assets. I mean, as
Really?
a normal,
I don't know that many people.
well, I mean, as an individual, when you go to the bank, you can list your car as an asset.
Really?
The bank allows you to list your
Oh,
car
the
as
bank's
an asset.
trolling then.
Yeah.
They should know better than anyone.
I think it just comes down to the technicality of that they list it as an asset because
It has a
is
sell
something-
price.
Yeah, it has some sort of sell value.
or like some value you get out of it. Like you can list it as an asset because you need it to get to work,
Or maybe it's
something.
because they get some value out of it if you sell it, right? It's worth enough to where they can be comfortable loaning you money.
Right. I mean, the whole idea that banks have an issue with listing assets is because they want to know that you're able to pay back the loan
Exactly.
that you're
So they don't
taking
care
out.
if you're cutting losses on a car or
Yeah,
whatever.
They just care the fact that it's like if
You
you,
have
mess
money,
up,
yeah.
they got something that they can take from you.
Yes, that's
Right.
worth money.
Essentially, you know, and I think that also goes into understanding the law and knowing more about your position, you know, as whether you are an employer or an employee, because when you are wearing a tax hat, you know, that car suddenly becomes so many options for you. Is it an expense? Is it a liability? Is it a asset? And I feel like you can decide when you want to make your assets look nicer and when you want to make your assets look worse, you know, especially when it comes into tax purposes. Like, how do people, how is the top 1% like paying for 50% of our taxes, or the majority of our taxes really, and they're still able to remain rich?
Yeah, well, he talks about how corporations have a huge incentive to spend all their money, right?
Of course.
Because of that, they can avoid that tax. So
Yeah.
they have all their incentive to spend as much as they can in as short a time as possible, which is kind of really counterintuitive, right? You'd think for a company, you save capital to invest in things, but no, you can just waste it just so you can save that money.
less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pay less on that tax.
So that's where he talks about in the book how when he came up with his first company, he used some of the funds in that to buy himself a Porsche,
Yeah.
but he didn't have to pay any taxes on it.
Wait. What do you guys mean though? Like, are you guys talking like, if I own a corporation, all the income that I make is taxed after I spend all of it?
Let's just go broke, bro.
Wait. That's OP, bro. Bro, that's ridiculous. Like,
That's legit,
why
man.
am I paying income tax when I get my check for $1,000 every like month or something, right? I get a check for $1,000. Government, you know, Uncle Sam, right? IRS,
Takes
I
his
run
share.
shit. Okay, the IRS takes their
like
cut, of 20%, whatever it is, whatever tax bracket you're in, right? And then you take home, let's say it's 20%, so you take home $800, and then you get to spend $800 on food, gas, groceries, rent, whatever you need, and then at the end of the month, all of it's gone all of a sudden, right? Because really, $800 is not a lot to live on. But if you're a corporation, right, you get your $1,000 check, you keep your $1,000 check, you spend it on your food, gas, car, whatever it is, your girlfriend, you know, party.
No, you have $200.
Bang, yeah, $200, and then the
They take
government
away
taxes 20% of that $200.
instead of the 1,000.
And instead of the 1,000. So really, guys, I think that's such a key point that, you know, Robert makes in his book that people aren't aware of, and like, not only do people are less incentivized to go take the risk and own their own corporation, but for me personally, like, just knowing that,
Yep.
I would do it right away.
Yeah. But why don't people know this? Because they don't know the law, which we said in the last video is important, right?
That's
You're not going
right.
to fight for something if you don't know it's a possible.
Right. And,
outcome.
and not only that, but like, people are so arrogant, you know, in their own ability. Like, we talked about how in the last episode that the person who bought the condo
Yep.
for $100,000, he didn't want to invest $500 in learning something for himself. Like, if you could invest $500 that gives you $1 million wealth building skill, and you knew that was a fact, right? I think everybody would pay for it in a heartbeat. I mean, just like how we went to 10X Growth Conference, they talked about someone purchasing a $27,000 advertisement, okay, and which the next day made them $29,000 per day, therefore after, right? But not everybody is willing to put up that initial $27,000
Because
just
that-
to see if something works.
That puts it all on the individual, right? That's
Right.
the responsibility now. You got to take action for that.
Right.
And if
And
you
people
don't,
are afraid.
you waste the money, right?
What
yeah,
are they
exactly.
afraid of?
Themselves.
Like where is this fear coming from all of a sudden? Now I perfectly understand if you have, you know, a wife and kids and a house that you've,
And that's
you know,
a liability.
that you bought into thinking that it was an asset, but really it's a liability because,
Car
you know,
payment.
the garage breaks or the toilet
The
breaks.
Joneses
or-
break.
Exactly. So you have all these people in this rat race that he initially talks about, that we talked about in the beginning of the previous episode, and they find themselves running and then running forever, right? So
Yeah.
so
And
really,
they keep
as
running,
as
running,
as a
and
smart
running,
individual, you really have to not only take into mind what exactly you're doing, how you're acquiring your money, your finances. That's why accounting is so important, that you know your dollar, every dollar in your bank account should have a name, right? Whether that's your name, the gas bill's name, your car payment name, every dollar should be accounted for.
It all comes back to financial IQ, guys. You got to start building it up.
Right.
Forget about
right away.
school. Just kidding. School's important.
School's important.
But if you have any spare time, take your time to learn these kind of skills that are going to be very useful down the line. Even if you're not a business person, right? If you're not involved, you still have to know how to sell yourself, right? You need to sell your ideas. You got to know the law.
Like
You're
how he talks about in the book, how the ones who are gaining aren't that 90% who are purchasing TV sets with their money, but that 10% who are purchasing business books to read in their spare time.
It's the 80-20 law, baby.
Right. There you go. I mean, like, you really have to take the time and you really have to take the time and invest it in yourself. And, you know, if you guys are here, you're taking the first step already, right? We got some knowledge to share with you guys. We got some nuggets. But really, you have to start thinking these kinds of lessons the school doesn't teach you, because school only teaches you to become a very good worker, you feel? And that's what really sets you apart from an employee and an employer.
That puts you in the JOB.
Yep.
What is a JOB?
I don't know.
Just over broke. If you have a job, you're just over broke. But let's not get so excited into that.
Are you telling me
Say-
school is teaching us to be just over broke?
That's
I'm going to
wrong.
school to make a return.
Yeah?
So
I mean, if you're majoring in English, that's the dumbest major I've ever heard of.
whoa,
Major in
whoa.
English.
I'm triggered.
But then again, there's arts
Our teachers are watching
Arts-
this.
Yeah. Well,
and drama.
my English teacher should know that
She chose the wrong profession.
unless
Yeah.
you're getting an English degree to teach English, I understand, but for any other kind of reason, what do you need
Harrison.
English for? Yeah?
Why would anyone get an English degree other than to teach English?
Because they don't speak English.
Yeah. Ira,
Fool.
do you speak English?
I speak Englandish.
Yeah. So why are you paying, 40 grand a year for 4 years to get a piece of paper that says that you speak English?
So I can go and teach other people.
How to speak English in America, born.
Yeah. So coming back full circle, like, it really shows you your dollar is so important, right? So not only does it show you like what kinds of things that people are investing in, whether it's right or wrong, it also shows you the amount of buying power that you have. I mean, you have to think like $500, man. That's a lot of money. But how are you gonna spend those $500? You can get an Xbox for $300, right? Or you can get a full course on how to flip real estate, how to maintain Airbnbs for $500.
Sure. And let's say you
And-
don't do anything with that knowledge, right? You just keep it. You're still more knowledgeable than if you bought an Xbox and wasted hours and hours and hours playing, right?
Definitely. I mean, I
even-
feel like people just get so caught up over the initial price tag of things, which brings us back to like how we were saying, instant gratification is such a huge deal.
Yep.
I think it comes full circle to that, because when people look at a item or consumer or consumer product, they're always so focused on the price, and I feel like as Americans we also have a little bit of that ingrained into our society because of capitalism.
Sure.
Because for us it's like, okay, well, we can do this, and if we can do it at a lower price, why aren't we doing it at a lower price? Or give me the best deal, give me the
But
best
also,
sales, right?
I think it's mainly when you have to invest in yourself and take responsibility
Yeah.
is when people get really sensitive about the price. Like, if you want to go get your nails done, a girl's not going to think twice about, well, what does it cost, right?
Right.
But when it's like, oh, investing in a course for me to like learn, like, well, what am I going to get out of it? Like,
Right,
wait,
right.
why is it
See-
so
Right,
expensive?
right.
All
That's
these
be-
questions.
because people think that they're spending money to work. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's what comes down to. Like how someone will see, like how you were talking about the Xbox and how it comes down to the price with everything. Not only is it the price, but it's the type of feeling that it gives you, Like if we were to buy an Xbox rather than this book, right? A lot of kids nowadays would just go for the Xbox because the Xbox makes them happy, Of course there are those ragers at games.
Right.
But then they feel relaxed, they're having fun playing their video games, They're like, why would I want to put in the work?
Yeah, it's that
you know?
idea of
Because
expedient and
yeah,
meaningful.
because when you buy a book like this, it's not something that you just read like Diary of a Wimpy Kid,
Right.
This is something that you have to take time to read and internalize
Yeah.
what the message that he is trying to tell you, But once you do that, you internalize the messages that he's trying to give in this book or any other business book, for example. That's what could really benefit you in the future, in the long run, to have that information to back you up.
Yeah, you just have to think, what is it really worth to have somebody condense their life experience and give it all to you in,
Right. I mean, you
in
save
a
so
couple
much
hours
time.
of reading.
Yeah, and then I think to further understand, like, people who are stuck in that rat race, who are going to school, like, they go to work for X amount of hours, and all they want to do is just relax and decompress the rest of the
Yeah.
time. You know, they are already in a position to where they feel like their employment is enough.
Yeah,
and
they've done their job.
and then they feel like, you know, they should be rewarded for the time that they spent. So that's why we say a job is what?
Just
Over.
Broke. So if you guys have no idea what we are talking about in terms of just over broke, we're going to be talking about it in the next episode. So please stay tuned. If you guys liked anything, please leak a like on the video and subscribe. Comment anything that you disagreed with, you agree with. Hopefully you guys have some assets, majority assets, and as little liability as possible, so you guys can keep watching us, keep paying for your internet. And let's
go out and get this bread.